It's Kannon. Thank you so much for watching or listening. It's OHP Uncut. And today with one of the most intelligent, down-to-earth guests that we've ever had, Alessia Cara. Not that the other guests are less intelligent. I'm just saying Alessia is of an elevated level of consciousness. Let's say that. Go ahead and subscribe, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast. Subscribe. That way you can be entered to win a virtual meet and greet with your favorite artist. We did one with Dixie D'Amelio not long ago. You can watch that below. But we've got some big artists on the way as well that you're going to be very excited to meet. So if you want to meet them, you've got to subscribe to the podcast and to the YouTube channel. Today, Alessia Cara. Cue the fireworks.
The OHP Uncut Podcast with Kannon.
What are you doing today?
I'm doing a bunch of interviews today, but at least the sun is out. It's nice. I can be by my window. It's nice.
How are the interviews going?
They're going well. They're going pretty well. Yeah, I did a couple listening sessions. Interviews going well.
Good. So everyone's being nice and mannerable and not asking too many personal questions and annoying you.
No, it's been great.
Oh, I love it. Don't worry, we're not going to change that here. Your album is so good. We've been listening to it in the house here, in the kitchen for a little while, and I'm like, this is damn good. And it's the kind of album you can put on and leave the whole thing on and listen through it, and it doesn't wear on you. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank you. That's the best compliment. That's what I want. So that's so awesome. Thank you for listening to it.
I mean, not every song is the same. You go through different genres and different types of rhythms on this album. It's really interesting. Talk about the different styles that you incorporate.
Yeah, for sure. I incorporated a bunch of different styles. I'm a huge fan of all types of music. I listen to bossa nova music, to folk, to singer-songwriter, to rock, to pop, to rap. I listen to everything. So when I was, going into making this album, I really just wanted to try a bit of everything, that stuff that would sound like the music I love, which is everything. So I just felt like I would keep the common theme in the lyrics and then have the sonics kind of be everywhere, which you
got some neo soul vibes in there too that I really like.
I love neo soul. Yeah.
Me too. Talk to me a little bit about where your head was at on this album. I'm getting the idea that you kind of, I don't want to use the word quarter life crisis, but I mean, that's kind of what it is when you turn 25 and you start to feel not getting any younger here.
Totally. Yeah. Oh my God. I have that thought once, or actually maybe 5 times a day. But yeah, it's pretty much basically a quarter life crisis. I definitely had a weird period of time in the last couple of years where I was just very aware of life and death and how quickly life goes by. I think having that sudden stop for all of us where the world was just at a halt, it really made me realize time's going on without us. Whether we're living our lives or not, we're in here, our lives are paused, but time is going anyway. And it really just made me think a lot about death and how quickly life goes by. And I'm oh my God, I'm freaking out over here. And since turning 25, I definitely am way more aware of my age and, what the meaning of life is. We're trying to figure that out anyway. It's a big question, but it's, I don't know. I don't have the answer.
You don't have an answer. You're doing pretty good. You're making it look like you know what you're doing. I'll tell you that. And you're such a role model. My mom actually used that word talking about you. I told her I was going to talk to you today. She goes, she's such a great role model. So you're figuring something out that a lot of people aren't, because no one would ever use those words to describe me. I can promise you that. That's a guarantee. Mothers aren't generally a fan of me at all, really, to be honest with you. So you should be very, very proud of that. Have you known anyone close to you that's passed away, or what made you start thinking about how fast life goes by?
There were a few deaths in my family, a couple sudden deaths, and a really, really good friend of mine, one of my best friends in the world, became very ill, unfortunately. And I don't think I'd ever really been that close to death before. Obviously, he's still with us, but still, there's just that sense of this could happen at any point, and it's so scary to think about the fact that tomorrow is not promised. Today isn't even really promised. I don't know what's going to happen, So it just really put me in a place of just reflection, but hyper reflection, where I was just thinking way too much about it and thinking myself into spirals of just what is the point of all of this. But I guess it's just about what meaning you apply to your everyday. We got to just make the most of the time we have.
Every time you hear of a tragedy happening or someone passing, they go, and it was just a normal Tuesday. And for some reason they always use that day of the week, Tuesday. So it was just a normal Tuesday, and then whatever it was happened. I'm like, this is a normal Tuesday.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. You really just don't know. And I mean, you can kind of let that like take over your life like I did for a while. And sometimes like I still do, but you can't do that. Like, cause then when the time actually comes, you're going to be like, well, what did I do? I was just worried the whole time of this moment coming. I didn't even enjoy the time I had, you know?
Normally in an interview, this would be a weird question to ask a 25-year-old, but because we're on the subject, it kind of makes sense. If you were, something tragic happened and you were to go, what mark would you hope you left on the world? What would you hope you gave the world?
That's a great question. Well, I mean, if I left anything, that would be incredible. I think for me, just like the fact that I make music and the fact that it lives there forever, whether like one person or a million people listen to it, is already crazy. But, you know, if my music and the things that I say and the sentiments that I left like could outlive me, where people are still listening to me and listening to the words I wrote like long after I'm gone, that would be like the best thing ever. So that, honestly, that, and just to know that people aren't alone. I hope that that's the mark I've left, that there's always somebody in their boat that is thinking like them and that understands them and that's going through something at the same time.
I tell you what, I'm not 25, but I was, and I can tell you, it doesn't get any slower the older you get. You look back, and I swear to you, like 15 feels like 5 minutes ago. I swear to God, that's how it happens. It's crazy.
It's insane.
If there's anything you haven't accomplished yet that you look ahead and you're like, God, I would just like to do this before I go. Like for me, I mean, obviously I want to be a good father. That goes without saying, but like, I wish I could just find a way to be calm, because I'm never calm. I'm wound up. I have anxiety. It's crazy. I fight with it every day. If I could figure out just a way to be just serenity, that would make me happy. If I could find that before I go. Or else they're going to be saying, he finally found peace. He finally found a way to calm down. Is there anything that comes to mind where you're like, man, I really would like to do this. I really like to accomplish this or feel this before I go?
That's a great one. I feel the exact same way. I'm like constantly ridden with anxiety and worry all the time. So it'd be wonderful to just be able to know how to turn it off and to be zen and like genuinely stay present, because like it's one thing to say it and it's another thing to live by it every day, you know. And I don't think I fully mastered the staying present part. And then I guess also like just like full self-love, you know, like I'm pretty good with it. Like I know who I am and I found a lot of purpose in what I do and stuff, but there are still times where I'm like, I just beat myself up. And my default is always like to say something bad about myself or to like be just insecure when it comes to my performances or whatever, the way that I look or this and that. And while I know that that's not important, there's still, you know, that default in there. So I wish that I could just, before I go, just achieve full on like self-love, love for life, and just like you said, just serenity. That would be wonderful. That's like very Buddhist mentality, but who knows if I'll ever get there. We'll see.
Let's this is something we do for fun sometimes. I do like looking at Instagram from time to time, because when you look at someone's page and you start stalking it and getting like super crazy and going way down, you go, man, I wonder what that was. I wonder what that was. I wonder what they're thinking when they posted that. So let's go down to, I like this one. What was on your mind this day and where were you?
That's actually a great one to pick, because I chose this photo because I was posting photos per track on the album just to kind of, you know, represent a little part of what the song's about or whatever. And this one is for Voice in My Head, which is a song about insecurities and, you know, that voice in your head that tells you that you're not good enough or whatever. And I chose this photo because literally like 2 seconds after the photo was taken, I just started crying so hard. And I don't know why. I just had like an emotional fit. You can even see it in my eyes. Like I'm just about to cry. And my friend snapped this photo and she was like, oh my God, you look so cute. Like, let me take a photo. And I was like, no. And I just started crying. So I had to put this photo because it just reminds me of that day. And I think I wrote it like either the day before or the day after, because I was just feeling so bad about myself for whatever reason. I just thought it was fitting. So that's actually a great one to pull up.
When you're feeling like that about yourself, do you go, oh, I need to write a song now? Or does it just sort of like manifest itself?
It depends. Because that day or that week I was in the studio for writing sessions, I kind of had to go in and write. So I just wrote about whatever was on my mind. But on a typical day, it depends on how strong the feeling is. If it's like really, really strong and I have the energy to write, then I usually will. But then sometimes it'll just like take over where I don't even have the energy to write. So it depends on the exact feeling, I guess.
Wow. Do you look at comments or you don't care, or does it just bum you out because people are jerks sometimes? Does it make you feel good because people are nice?
I disabled my comments for a bunch of time. This is like the first year, or last year was I brought them back. I try, sometimes I'll look at them, but I try not to too much because.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What's happening here?
That's funny. My cousin sent me that photo and he's like, do you have like a piece of provolone cheese on your face? It was actually a face mask, and I was in my apartment just chilling, having some self-care time. So I thought that'd be a good one to, represent the apartment zone.
God, it feels so good. Not that I've done one lately. I've done a lot of them.
It looks like you have. You look great.
Let's pick one more. Let's go down. Oh my goodness. We know this one. Cleo.
Cleo, yeah. That's my dog. She's
what such a cutie. All right, we'll do one more. I just had to stop because the dog is so beautiful. Whoa. Who's knocking at the door?
This is a meme of like these two women. I forget what they actually are holding. I think like pamphlets or something, but I made them, a fan made this, but they made them hold my two singles at the time. I thought that was really funny. It's like, surprise, I got 2 new songs. So yeah, I like to use that meme. It's really funny.
So if people take anything away from this album, what do you hope it is?
I mean, I hope that they just like see little parts of themselves, I mean, hopefully also learn a little bit about me, but the best kind of music is the one that holds up a mirror to the listener and kind of just allows them to see something about themselves, so that's pretty much the goal for all my music.
Thank you. Everyone tweets the same thing when an artist puts out an album, but and I guess it's probably hard to answer. Everyone answers it differently, but do you have any favorite tracks?
Oh man, it's so impossible. I feel like You Let Me Down is like in my top 3. That one's a great one. I love Apartment as well. I mean, all of them. Bluebird I really love. I love Somebody Else. Honestly, all of them. I had to narrow them down from 40. So you know that these are like my favorite ones that I really couldn't let go. So I love all of them.
Well, thank you for your time. Like I said, you've been so generous. We really appreciate it. Thanks for letting us deep dive into your Instagram, and thank you more than anything for the music. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for being a good person and for your good vibes. And just for being so open and honest about yourself. It's really refreshing and amazing. Thank you.
That's really kind. Thank you so much.
The OHP Uncut Podcast with Kannon.